I also want to point out the amount of people who've said that gays, quote unquote, policing each other is unfair. Guys, you realize that if straight men policed each other's behavior, there wouldn't be a pandemic, right? Like,
Welcome to Keep It, Crooked Media's show about pop culture and politics and what happens when they smack into each other at an alarming speed. I'm your host, Ira Madison III. I'm a television writer and Fall Out Boy fan.
I'm Louis Fertel. I'm a TV writer and Jane Fonda historian.
And I'm Aida Osman. I'm a TV writer and alleged comedian.
Let's get into it.
There's a little civil war breaking out on social media amongst gay men. Last week, this homosexual devil and circuit party organizer, Jeffrey Sanker, tried his best to host a New Year's Eve bash on a boat off the coast of Puerto Vallarta, despite COVID restrictions and pleas from local authorities. He was found out when the Instagram account Gays Over COVID leaked his message to attendees in which he asked attendees not to post the address or any pictures or videos because he knew that what he was doing was fucked up and illegal, etc.
Also, honey, yeah, you really know your fucking clientele. They won't post any pictures or videos of it.
Right.
I've never heard anything dumber.
Basically, the party happened, but the boat that it was on capsized.
Awesome.
I do love some Schadenfreude. And basically, gay Twitter drew battle lines, apparently. I've been hearing about this through text messages from friends or my roommate, because as you know, I'm not on Twitter anymore. So, Louis, what's going on?
Great question.
Enlighten me, King.
I will say, what people are obsessed with right now is whether or not, quote unquote, shaming, that is to say, reposting these people's public or sometimes just close friend Instagram posts where they're out partying in Puerto Vallarta mask free. And not just Puerto Vallarta, there was like Brazil, there was other places out of the country. Whether or not shaming actually, quote unquote, does like changes behavior. Whether it's like unfair to post this stuff. I will say this. I feel like the conversation around this is pretty small. Like, I don't care if these people are shamed or not. What concerns me is, like, okay, so I live in Southern California. Half the people on this account are from Southern California.
Yeah.
I have known a bunch of the people featured on this. And
Oh, wow.
this account was valuable to me because guess what? If I run into them on the fucking street, I shouldn't be near them. If I, like, in my everyday life have to, like, exist near these people, I should know they've been spending all this fucking time. Like, there's a trainer I know who was on this, and it's like, I shouldn't have to be around that guy. I will also say that over break, I don't know if either of you have ever gotten the phone call that your mom was exposed to somebody at her workplace who got COVID and was historically very lax about mask mandates. It is not fucking fun. The reaction I had would be, I would describe it as a rage. And so if someone like that who is flouting on social media that they're running around mask-free, definitely not paying attention to restrictions, definitely not paying attention to common sense, and then they are around somebody I care about, yeah, I should fucking know about that ahead of time. So I actually am weirdly a big defender of gays over COVID. I do think there's a neener quality to the vibe of gays over COVID that feels sometimes a little immature. But
That's what I would point out.
Yeah.
'Cause, listen, I'm definitely in that camp that you mentioned, Louis. I think that we should definitely know people who are being reckless. I mean, I think we've all seen someone that we had sex with show up on Gays Over COVID and been shot. And also, my sister got COVID at work over the break, and it was a hellish 2 weeks for her. Surviving it, and she's fine now, but it's like, I don't have a problem with shaming people, particularly when they're public about it. There is the question about, like, should you be sharing people's close friends, or like, I don't know, get a Finsta. I feel like a large part of our argument too was always that, like, if you're gonna do something risky or like reckless, or even just hang out with your friends during a pandemic, the people who feel the need to post about it constantly is this sort of weird defiance, and it's almost like they want to be dragged. I don't see a world where, like, these people even are like all of the HGHG they're on and whatever drugs, like on this boat in Puerto Vallarta, like not sitting there and thinking like, oh, we're going to be dragged for this, like
Right.
they know it. And so they're flaunting it. And that's why you get responses like someone offering $500 for the identity of gays over COVID, which
What
is
a paltry bounty. Like just
not even the original
$500.
stimulus. Okay,
Right.
Girl, Mitch
Come on.
McConnell gave me more than that. Come on.
My thing about gays over COVID has largely been that one, if you're going to refer to this as like the Lady Whistledown or a gossip girl for the gay community, how sad is that? Because not a single aspect of gays over COVID is funny. I think
Right.
my main problem with it is that, like, if you're reposting memes of people calling you the new gossip girl and like really getting into the like notoriety, like your deux moi, another account I had to recently unfollow.
Cult of personality. Yeah.
Yeah, a cult of personality thing. Be funny.
Right.
Like there are no jokes. It's definitely someone who feels very sanctimonious. And yes, there are stakes here that allow you to have a bit of sanctimonious in you, but I say sanctimonious because the kind of person who would sit at home and sort of craft all of this stuff and like a web of like what everyone else has been doing, right, is either a psycho like Monique Samuels from Real Housewives of Potomac, or they are a white person with too much time on their hands. And there is nothing scarier to me
Than
than
that.
a white person with too much time on their hands. Because the post that got me actually upset with gays over COVID was a post from 4 days ago where they talked about a underground party being shut down in Los Angeles. And the post says, special thanks to the at LAPD HQ for shutting the underground party down so quickly. Special thanks to the LAPD. And then you add it and tag the LAPD. That is unwell. That is
We've turned a
sick.
corner.
Yeah.
That is disgusting, because I see so many people commenting on here too, or who have liked it, who spent the summer saying all cops are bastards, or saying defund the police. And now all of a sudden, when you want to get a thrill out of watching some gay men have their party shut down, all of a sudden you're pro-police. And then I got responses from some people when I was like, are we simping for the police here? Like, is Jackie Lacey running this account now that she ain't DA anymore? People being like, oh, you're mad at the police for doing their job for once. And I'm like, that shows just a complete lack of understanding. And it shows that you didn't do the reading. Because we literally spent the past year giving white people books to read, and they all kept taking photos of their Angela Davis shirts, or like the book that they would got, prisons are prisons obsolete. Everyone was reading that shit all summer, and now to turn around and to tag the police, I find it disgusting, to be honest. And the comments too from some people are just sort of like, we are anti-cop when cop kills people. COVID kills people, a lot of them. Tonight, cops stop people from allowing COVID to kill people. Not a fan of LAPD, but they seem to be enforcing things tonight. I'm like, where is the nuance here? Where is the brain?
That's unfortunate.
This is just what got it over on me, because it is people who are excited about the cops raiding a gay party. And I'm like, one, if we look into the history of policing in the gay community, that's something that you don't want to celebrate. Stonewall, for instance. And two, yes, we're glad that they shut down the party, because in the current society that we're in, that is a job for the police to do. We don't have Batman shutting down parties. But to tag and celebrate them just feels sort of
Oh, it's pathetic.
gross.
Yeah.
It's pathetic, and it makes me think that you are the kind of person who would then call the LAPD on a non-white person when you're feeling mildly inconvenienced. A person who tags
leveraging
the
it.
police and thanks them is a person who definitely has 911 on speed dial.
That's an op. That is an op.
You're an
right
op.
there.
You're an op, okay?
I also want to point out the amount of people who've said that gays, quote unquote, policing each other is unfair. Guys, you realize that if straight men policed each other's behavior, there wouldn't be a pandemic, right? Like, we
There'd
could
be
all
a lot of
we could-
things
Yeah.
that wouldn't exist. We should
Vigilance
be
is
policing each
important.
other.
I
Yeah.
could walk
Yes.
the streets, not
Yeah.
scared.
I
Dr.
definitely
Fauci
disagree.
would be jobless.
I definitely disagree with the people who say that like this is gay on gay crime. Like we should be policing each other.
Why does that
We
exist?
should
Why
be
does that phrase even exist?
Right? We should care about what's going on in our community, and I don't care if it reads as homophobia to like straight people when we're shaving shirtless gay men running around on a boat maskless in another country. Another country, by the way, which does not have the resources that America has. So you're not only risking the lives of the people you're going to return to. Like, what if you get sick and interact with like people who are native to where you're traveling? Like you're a fucking colonizer.
Countries right now that don't actually have the means to deny tourism, like a country like Mexico, and the gay flight to Puerto Vallarta right now, there's this weird thing that's happening right now with COVID, is international travel, where people think that because they're in a different city, the rules don't apply to them any fucking more. But in all reality, it is the widest bullshit you could do is to go bring danger to another city.
Yeah. So my wish is that we keep policing each other. Maybe gays over COVID.
Less
Hire
juvenile
someone
about
to
it.
be less juvenile about it. Hire someone to do joke punch ups and and stop bootlicking.
Right.
Okay,
I will
bootlick at Tom of Finland. Okay, I like that fetish, but the cops, we're not doing that in 2021.
I will say, just objectively, and I don't mean to sound like somebody who's in his late 90s as I say this, it is shocking that you can just put together an account of people broadcasting themselves flouting rules. Doesn't it seem like maybe 2 people have done that, like would be dumb enough to do
Yeah.
that? But they are honestly overflowing with content. It is, I would call it funny, except it is so appallingly shitty. It is ridiculous.
I don't like, this is what's difficult for me to understand, is distilling all the stupidity in one place makes me feel so hopeless about the world and people and the outcome of this pandemic. Like, and this also comes on the heels of Apple giving us this new feature where we can actually see, if you turn it on, people around you that have been exposed to COVID. So this is the culture that we're in right now, where people are, they deserve to be aware.
It's not just Apple. I'm not going to call out some people, but there is. A lot of people should also realize that their phone just constantly tells people where you are.
They forget.
So like if you share your location, or like if you even log into a certain place, your friends might see that you have traveled to Puerto Vallarta,
Exactly.
an art circuit party.
And by the way,
careful.
I'd like to add that last year over New Year's, I went to Puerto Vallarta. The idea of repeating that performance again this year is so gross and so just unthinkable. I mean,
Lewis, it's a gay mecca, so everyone has to take one pilgrimage. Like, you have to go one time. You went once, let other people go there one time.
that's true. That's true.
I think that I feel pretty up to date on what's going on with the homos. So
I don't know what y'all
Lewis.
be doing.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
glad I
that's
could help.
Our gay
Yeah.
correspondent.